China-US trade talks break the deadlock after Beijing agrees to review export applications for rare earths. Secretary for Security Chris Tang urges the society as a whole to wipe out national security threats. And more than $1.9 billion worth of discounts on offer during this year's Hong Kong Shopping Festival, which begins on July 1st. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Quentin Yang. Trade negotiations between China and the United States are gaining momentum after Beijing agreed to review and approve export applications for rare earths, which are essential in the manufacture of everyday electronics to high-tech weapon systems. Washington has also reciprocated by canceling a series of restrictive measures taken against China. Anna Chen has more details.
Without disclosing too many details, a statement from the Commerce Ministry said Beijing had been in close communication with U.S. officials during trade talks in London earlier this month. Washington had been desperate to resume imports of rare earths from China, and Beijing lifting controls on its imports is seen as a major breakthrough. U.S. President Donald Trump first broke the news about the deal, but did not provide additional details. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told Bloomberg, China is going to deliver rare earths to us, and once they do that, we'll take down our countermeasures. The negotiations followed a much-anticipated phone call between President Xi Jinping and Trump, a conversation that broke the deadlock. This initial breakthrough could potentially pave the way for further reduction of trade tariffs imposed by both countries. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Security Chief Chris Tang says anti-China forces are using Hong Kong to promote smear campaigns, and the society as a whole should contribute to identify threats to the nation's security. Highlighting directives issued by the State Council last month, Tang said SAR authorities are in the final stages of formulating national security guidelines for civil servants. Evelyn Bai reports.
The National Security Law Guidelines for Civil Servants, which will be rolled out by the end of the month, will be presented using simple and clear examples. Adopting a question and answer format, the rules are applicable for all civil servants. Taking awareness to the grassroots, Tang said, if cleaners see slogans which threaten national security, they should report the situation. Similarly, when allocating funds to external organizations, civil servants should ensure the beneficiaries have not violated national security laws. Tang said the Security Bureau will also review other legislations, including the Social Workers Registration Ordinance and the Trade Unions Ordinance. When asked about the boundaries of freedom of speech and press freedom, Tang said, purely reporting news would not be penalized unless someone attempts to use press freedom as an excuse to conceal activities that harm national security. He reiterated that news must be based on facts and should not involve fake news or false information. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Approaching the end of his third year in office, Chief Executive John Lee highlighted the administration's significant progress on public housing and economic revitalization.
In an interview for a government website, Lee said addressing the city's housing problem has been a top priority for his administration. The average waiting time for public housing has significantly dropped from 6.1 years when he took office to 5.3 years. Lee attributed the reduction to policies such as accelerated land acquisition, faster construction, and a crackdown on public housing abuse, which helped the government retain 8,000 misused units. On the economic front, Lee successfully restored positivity to Hong Kong's GDP, which rebounded to 2.5% last year from a minus 3.7% in 2022. This year, the SAR is forecast to see 2 to 3% growth. Lee said his visits to 12 countries, primarily in Southeast Asia and the Middle East, have opened new markets for Hong Kong and forged trading ties. Why do I value these visits? They let the world see the real Hong Kong, open business opportunities, and create win-wins, he stated. Acknowledging that more hard work lies ahead, Li framed his tenure as a public service mission.
A record number of retailers and other shops are offering big discounts by joining this year's 2-month-long Hong Kong Shopping Festival, which begins on July 1st. The catering industry is also dishing out 29% concessions on Establishment Day to mark the 28th anniversary of the SAR's return to the motherland. Scarlett Chen tells us more.
Featuring over 180 brands, this year's Hong Kong Shopping Festival is offering 50% more discount than last year, totaling $1.9 billion.
呢啲咁嘅優惠，希望能夠係抵消到我哋港紙強嘅問題啦。
Chairwoman of the Hong Kong Retail Management Association, Annie Yao Tse, noted that the offers and discounts can boost retail sales, which have taken a hit for more than a year. She is confident that the campaign will attract tourists and local consumers and will not be impacted by Hong Kongers traveling overseas during the summer holidays. Approximately 3,800 eateries across the city are joining in the festivities to celebrate Establishment Day.
我哋好難喺老實講喺價錢上同北上去比較。
Winston Yeung, chairman of the Hong Kong Federation for Restaurants and Related Trades, stated that it is difficult to compare prices with mainland eateries as their operating costs are low. However, the discounts can discourage Hong Kongers from crossing the borders and stay in the city during the holiday. Most dining discounts are only available on July 1st. The catering industry hopes that participating restaurants can extend the offer. Scarlett Chen, Cable News.
Prominent food critic and TV personality Chua Lam died 2 days ago at the age of 83. A cultural icon, Chua passed away peacefully at the Hong Kong Sanatorium and Hospital, surrounded by family and friends. Evelyn Bai reports.
Following his wishes, his body has been cremated without any ceremony, as Chua wanted to avoid troubling relatives and friends. Best known for his exquisitely detailed food reviews, Chua was the chief consultant for the documentary A Bite of China. Born in Singapore in 1941, he studied in Japan before moving to Hong Kong. Chua's career spanned decades, traversing between scripting films to hosting food and travel shows, where his witty, unpretentious style made him a household name. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
A 41-year-old taxi passenger died and his companion and the driver were injured when their vehicle collided head-on with a private car near Yuan Long early this morning. Scarlett Chen reports.
The crash occurred around 2 a.m. on Fan Kam Road when the taxi heading towards Shengshui apparently lost control and rammed into the car coming from the opposite direction. All injured were sent to North District Hospital, where one victim was pronounced dead soon after. The other passenger sustained head injuries to his head, while the taxi driver suffered a broken bone. The driver of the private vehicle experienced back pain. In another accident later in the morning, a garbage collection boat picked up a man floating off the waters near Pier No. 5 in Central. Emergency crews rushed the man to Central Government Pier, from where he was taken to Rottenji Hospital in Wan Chai. Despite receiving treatment, the victim died. It is not clear how the man fell in the water, and police are working to determine the circumstances leading to the incident. Scarlett Chen, Cable News.
A 3-day Brazil festival showcasing the vibrant culture of the South American country opened at the Central Waterfront today. The inaugural extravaganza, When Brazil Meets Hong Kong, featuring nearly 20 free performances and live music by singers and DJs, was officiated by Financial Secretary Paul Chan.
I'm glad that this festival has brought energy and joy to our communities across the city. Looking ahead, we are committed to strengthening Hong Kong's role as Asia's event capital. With the new Kai Tak Sports Park, a world-class infrastructure, we will be hosting a wide range of international events. More than just concerts and rugby, we are welcoming a number of top-class football teams here. I certainly hope that we can host the Brazilian national football team sometime soon.
The carnival is free to the public and aims to deepen cultural exchanges between the city and Brazil while reinforcing Hong Kong's reputation as Asia's premier hub for mega events.
After destroying Iran's reported capability to build a nuclear weapon, the United States is offering $30 billion to Tehran to help build a civilian energy-producing atomic program. But Iran is not interested and does not have immediate plans to resume talks with Washington. Anna Chen reports.
This was an historically successful attack.
U.S. defense officials doubled down on the effectiveness of the destructive attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities by showing test videos of how exactly the ordinance works. However, they stopped short of providing new intelligence to support President Donald Trump's claim that the nuclear targets were obliterated. Making his first appearance since the ceasefire with Israel, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei claimed that the bombings did not achieve anything and Trump had exaggerated their impact. The new outrage offered by the U.S. would help Tehran achieve a nuclear program for civilian energy purposes and a respite from international sanctions. After a two-week exchange of fire between Israel and Iran, sources say key players from the U.S. and the Middle East have been holding talks with the Iranians. But Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi denied having any plans to resume nuclear talks with Washington, citing a cumbersome experience with the Americans. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Israel has closed crossings into northern Gaza, cutting the most direct route for aid to reach hundreds of thousands of people at risk of famine.
Displaced Palestinians across the Gaza Strip are still struggling with severe food shortages and looting by armed groups. Adding to the ongoing humanitarian crisis, Israel has closed crossings into northern Gaza from yesterday. There were reports that Palestinians were shot as they desperately sought food in increasingly chaotic circumstances. Amid concerns over violence near aid distribution sites, especially those operated by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the U.S. State Department has approved $30 million in funding for the controversial group, which has been heavily criticized due to its procedures and neutrality. This is the first direct funding for a controversial Israeli-supported relief effort in the Gaza Strip by the U.S. government, and Washington urged other countries to follow suit.
The mainland's industrial profits for the first 5 months of the year have slumped to the lowest level since last October. Weak demand and the Earth's uncertainty fueled by the tariff war has dented the price of industrial goods.
Industrial profits plunged 9.1% year-on-year in May, falling way short of the market expectation of a 1% increase. It was the second biggest decline in the past 7 months. Cumulative profits at major industrial firms fell 1.1% in the first 5 months of 2025, compared to a year earlier. The mining industry was hard hit, with profits declining 29%. Looking ahead, the Statistics Bureau said more proactive macro policies, innovation, and high-quality industrial development are set to lay a solid foundation for profit recovery.
Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended slightly down 41 points. Top active stocks of the day, Xiaomi was up $2.05. Alibaba was down 1 cent. Meituan was down 60 cents, while BYD down $1.50. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy tomorrow with occasional showers and a few thunderstorms. It will be humid with a maximum temperature of around 31 degrees. More showers and thunderstorms early next week. And that's your news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.